I always believed that when betrayal came, it would announce itself, like a slammed door, a scream in the night, a shadow slipping where it didn't belong. But the truth is quieter. It's in the way a house changes without you noticing. I was sitting in my garage, fixing a leaky pipe under the sink, when I found it. A single wine glass, half empty, next to the tool shelf. I hadn't been drinking. Ashley hated the garage, said it smelled like oil and dust. But there it was, a lipstick stain on the rim. I touched the glass. The wine was still fresh. Someone had been in my house. I stood up too fast, knocking over the wrench in my hand. My mind went into overdrive. Ashley's at work. I'm the only one home. So who the hell was drinking wine in my garage? Then I saw it, barely hidden behind the tool chest. Pair of men's sunglasses. Not mine. A cold dread curled around my spine. I picked them up, turning them over in my hand. Expensive. Not the kind you'd pick up at a gas station. These belonged to someone who cared about looking good. The air in the garage felt thick, suffocating. My house, my space, it wasn't mine anymore. Someone else had been here, comfortable enough to pour a drink, leave behind their things. I walked inside, my pulse hammering. The house was too quiet. Upstairs, our bedroom looked untouched. The bed perfectly made, my side of the closet undisturbed. But something felt off. I opened Ashley's dresser. Her lingerie drawer, empty. Not completely, but the nice pieces, the ones she used to wear for me, were gone. I heard the front door open. My heart slammed against my ribs. Ashley. I clenched the sunglasses in my fist and walked downstairs. She was kicking off her shoes, scrolling through her phone, not a care in the world. When she looked up and saw my face, she froze. Ashley, I said, my voice low. I held up the sunglasses. Whose are these? She blinked too fast. Then she laughed. Actually laughed. Oh my God, really? You're going through my stuff now. I found them in our garage, next to a half-empty wine glass. Try again. Her expression flickered, just for a second. They're probably Ryan's. You know, from when he helped me move the boxes last weekend. Ryan, our neighbor, a married guy in his 50s with a beer gut. No way in hell these belong to him. I stepped closer. Ryan wears cheap gas station shades. These cost at least $300. She snatched them from my hand and tossed them on the counter like they were nothing. You're being ridiculous. No, you're being a liar. Her eyes darkened. So what? You're accusing me of something now. I didn't answer. I just stared at her. That's when she did something I'll never forget. She smirked. Not fear. Not guilt. A smirk. Like she knew something I didn't. Like she was enjoying this. And that was the moment I knew. She wasn't just lying. She thought I was too stupid to ever figure it out. That smirk. That tiny, flickering second of amusement on her face. It was worse than if she'd screamed. Worse than if she'd started crying and swearing she'd never betray me. She wasn't scared. She wasn't even sorry. She was playing with me. I stepped closer, close enough to see the rise and fall of her chest. The way her fingers tightened slightly around her phone. Say it, I said. My voice was steady, but inside, something was unraveling. Say what? She shot back, rolling her eyes. That you're acting like a jealous psycho? I picked up the sunglasses and held them between us. That you're cheating on me? Ashley scoffed. Oh my God. You are so paranoid. Do you even hear yourself? She grabbed her purse from the counter and started pulling out receipts, gum wrappers, anything to look busy. If I was cheating, do you really think I'd be dumb enough to leave evidence? A freaking wine glass in the garage. Yeah, I said, watching her. I do. That caught her off guard. Because Ashley was careless. Not because she was stupid, but because she was arrogant. She thought she was untouchable. She let out an exaggerated sigh and shoved the sunglasses back at me. Fine. You want to know whose they are? She crossed her arms, cocking her head like this was some kind of game. They're Eric's. My stomach twisted. Eric, my coworker, my friend. Lies. Had to be. It didn't make sense. Ashley grinned, slow and cruel. You look like you're gonna be sick. I was, but not in the way she thought. Because at that moment, something clicked. A memory, one I'd brushed off as nothing. A few months ago, Eric had joked about my wife. Damn, man, if I wasn't married, it was stupid. Passing comment. One-eyed laughed off. Had I been laughing while he was screwing my wife behind my back? My pulse pounded in my ears. Ashley must have seen something in my face, because her smirk widened. Oh, baby, you didn't actually think he was your friend, did you? She was enjoying this. Enjoying ripping me apart. I didn't say a word. I just turned around and walked upstairs. Behind me, Ashley called out, "Oh, come on. Don't be dramatic. Where are you going?" I opened our closet, pulled down my suitcase, and then I did something I never thought I'd do. I packed my bags. I stuffed clothes into my suitcase with shaking hands. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it would crack my ribs. I wasn't thinking, I was reacting. Downstairs, Ashley was still talking. Not apologizing. Not begging. Talking. "Are you seriously doing this? Oh my God. You're such a drama queen." A pause. Then she laughed. Actually laughed. "You're really packing? What, you think you're in a movie or something?" I zipped the suitcase shut. My whole body felt tight, like I was wound up so hard I might snap. I wasn't leaving because I was weak. I was leaving because if I stayed, I might do something I'd regret. I grabbed my keys, my wallet. My fingers brushed against my wedding ring. I froze. Then I ripped it off and threw it on the bed. That finally made her shut up. For a second. Then, footsteps. Fast. Angry. She stormed upstairs, eyes blazing. "Are you serious right now?" I picked up the suitcase and turned toward the door. She grabbed my arm. "Oh, no, you don't. You don't get to run away and make me the bad guy here." I yanked my arm free. "You are the bad guy, Ashley." She crossed her arms, shifting her weight to one hip, her whole body radiating defiance. "Oh, please. What are you gonna do? Cry to HR? Tell everyone your best buddy was sleeping with your wife?" That hit like a brick to the chest. She was right. I couldn't just go to work and announce that Eric, Mr. Perfect, was screwing my wife. It wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't fix anything. And she knew that. She smirked again. That damn smirk. "God, you're so predictable. You really thought you had some perfect little life, didn't you?" I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. "I did. Before you pissed all over it." She gasped, mocking. "Oh no. Poor little betrayed husband. Guess what? You weren't exactly exciting, okay? You think I wanted to spend the rest of my life playing house with some boring, predictable." I didn't let her finish. I walked out. She followed me down the stairs, still talking. "Oh, come on. Don't be a baby. You're really gonna throw away 6 years over one mistake." I stopped at the door and turned. "You're only calling it a mistake because you got caught." She grinned. "Well, yeah. I left before I could say something I couldn't take back. But I made one silent promise to myself as I stepped out that door. She would regret this. I drove. No destination, no plan. Just the open road and the roaring in my head. My hands gripped the wheel so tight I thought it might snap. Ashley's voice still echoed in my ears. "You weren't exactly exciting. You're really gonna throw away 6 years over one mistake?" One mistake. She hadn't even denied it. Hadn't begged or cried or tried to twist it into something it wasn't. No, she had smirked. And now, as I stared at the empty highway stretching in front of me, one thing became crystal clear. Ashley didn't think I had it in me to fight back. She thought she'd already won. That was her mistake. I pulled into a gas station parking lot and sat there, staring at my phone. I could call my brother. I could call a lawyer. But instead, I scrolled through my contacts until I found the name I wanted. Ryan. The neighbor. The innocent guy she tried to pin the sunglasses on. I hit dial. He picked up on the third ring. "Hey man, what's up?" I didn't bother with small talk. "You home?" "Yeah, why?" "Step outside." A pause. Then, okay. I swung the car around and drove straight back to my neighborhood. Ryan was waiting on his porch, a beer in one hand, a confused look on his face. "Dude, you good?" I stepped out, walked right up to him, and pulled the sunglasses from my pocket. "Recognize these?" He frowned, taking them, turned them over in his hands. "No, should I? They were in my garage." Ryan squinted at me, still confused. "Okay." Along with a half-drunk wine glass. That got his attention. His eyes sharpened. "Wait, you think they're mine?" "No," I said. I think they're Eric's. And just like that, the confusion vanished, replaced by something darker. He didn't look surprised. That's when I knew. Ryan knew something. I stepped closer. How long? He exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. Man, look, I didn't want to get involved. But how long? Ryan hesitated, then muttered, at least 6 months. 6 months. Something inside me snapped. I turned and stalked back to my car. Wait. Ryan called after me. What are you gonna do? I didn't answer. I just got in and slammed the door, because I finally knew exactly what I was going to do. Ashley thought she could play games? She had no idea who she was dealing with. 6 months. Half a year of lies. Half a year of Eric, the guy I'd shared beers with, trusted at work, sneaking around with my wife. And she thought I'd just walk away? No. She wanted a game? I'd give her one. I didn't go back home. I wasn't about to let Ashley control the narrative, spin this like I was the one who overreacted. I needed time, space, and most importantly, I needed a plan. So I drove straight to a hotel, booked a room, and pulled out my laptop. If she was expecting me to crawl into a hole and lick my wounds, she had another thing coming. First step? Lock her out. I logged into our bank accounts. Ashley had always been careless with money, the type to spend now and figure it out later. She'd never paid attention to the finances. That had always been my job. Big mistake. I transferred everything from our joint savings into my personal account. Then I froze the credit cards. Second step? Gather evidence. I wasn't about to leave this marriage empty-handed. I didn't want Ashley's money. I wanted justice. So I pulled up our home security system. She never remembered it existed. And there it was. The camera over the garage door. A grainy, black and white clip from 2 nights ago. A car pulling into the driveway at 11:47 p.m. Not mine. The driver's side door opened. Eric stepped out. I leaned in, staring at the screen, my pulse hammering. The bastard walked right up to my garage, punched in the code, and let himself in like he owned the place. Like he lived there. Then, after a few minutes, Ashley appeared. In nothing but a robe. I slammed the laptop shut so hard I thought I might break it. My vision went red. My breath came in short, sharp bursts. I needed to hit something, break something, but I didn't, because rage without control is useless. Ashley had been bold enough to bring him into my house, my garage, my life, and that meant she wasn't scared. She didn't think there'd be consequences, but that was about to change. I picked up my phone and scrolled to my contacts. Eric's wife. I had met Jessica at company events, exchanged polite smiles. She was sweet, too sweet for the man she married. Ashley thought I'd suffer in silence, thought I'd let her keep her little secret. She was about to find out just how wrong she was. I stared at Jessica's name on my phone screen. My thumb hovered over the call button. This was it. One press and the entire house of cards would come crashing down. And I wanted that. I needed that. I hit dial. She answered on the second ring. Hey, this is Jessica. Her voice was polite but distracted, like she was juggling a million things. Jessica, it's Mark. A pause. Then, oh, Mark from Eric's office. Yeah. My pulse pounded. Listen, I need to tell you something, and it's going to hurt. Silence. The kind that weighs. What do you mean? She asked, her voice quieter now. I exhaled sharply. No easy way to say it. So I just said it. Eric is cheating on you. Another silence. Then, a nervous, breathy laugh. What? He's been sleeping with my wife. For at least 6 months. I have proof. I expected yelling, tears, maybe even her hanging up on me. Instead, Jessica said nothing. And that's when it hit me. She already knew. My grip tightened on the phone. You're not surprised. A long exhale. No, she admitted. I've had my suspicions. Late nights at work, sudden showers when he gets home, the way he hides his phone. But I never had proof. Well, now you do. I opened my laptop again, staring at the footage of Eric slipping into my garage like a cockroach. You want me to send it to you? Another pause. Then, yes. I attached the video and hit send. A few seconds later, I heard the notification on her end. Oh my God, she whispered. I stayed quiet, letting her process. Then her voice changed. No more shock. Just cold, simmering rage. Mark. Yeah. I want to ruin them. I smiled for the first time that night. Then let's get to work. Jessica wasn't crying. She wasn't begging for explanations or making excuses for her husband. No, she was furious. And not the kind of fury that burned hot and wild, the kind that ran cold. Calculated. I respected that. First, she said, her voice steady. We don't let them know we know. Not yet. I leaned back in my chair. Intrigued. Go on. If we confront them now, they'll lie. Twist it. Make us the bad guys. She was right. Ashley and Eric were the same breed, manipulative, arrogant. If we wanted to take them down, we had to be smarter. So what's the plan? I asked. Jessica hesitated for only a second. Then, with an eerie kind of calm, she said, We set a trap. I grinned. I like the way you think. She exhaled sharply. You still at the hotel? Yeah. Good. Stay there. Don't go home yet. If Ashley realizes you're out, she'll start covering her tracks. And I need time to prepare. Prepare for what? Jessica's voice was like ice. I'm going to invite them to dinner. I nearly dropped the phone. You're what? You heard me. She was already a step ahead. I'll tell Eric I want a double date with you and Ashley. Something fancy. I'll make him think I'm trying to fix our marriages. I saw where she was going. And once we get them in the same room, we destroy them. I sat there stunned. I had expected anger, sure. But this? Jessica was a mastermind. What do you need me to do? Act normal. When Ashley calls, don't let her know you're onto her. If she asks where you are, tell her you're cooling off after the argument. Nothing more. And if she doesn't call? Jessica gave a humorless laugh. She will. She's gonna want to make sure you're still wrapped around her finger. She won't expect you to be talking to me. She was right. Again. I ran a hand through my hair, my pulse racing. Jessica. Yeah. This is going to be fun. For the first time that night, she actually smiled. I could hear it in her voice. Damn right it is. The next morning, Ashley called. I let the phone ring twice before answering. Had to make it look real. Like I'd been debating whether or not to pick up. Hello. My voice was flat. Cold. Baby. Ashley cooed. Her voice dripping with fake sweetness. You really just left last night? That was so dramatic. I stared at the ceiling of my hotel room, gripping the phone so hard my knuckles ached. She wasn't even pretending to be guilty, just annoyed that I hadn't played my part. The dumb, clueless husband who forgives and forgets. I needed space, I said. Still do. She sighed, like I was the one exhausting her. Okay, I get it. I was kinda harsh last night, but we can fix this. I don't want to throw everything away over a stupid argument. A stupid argument. That's what she was calling it. I clenched my jaw. I don't know, Ash. Time to let her chase me. She bit. Come on, don't be like that. Let's just go out. Get dinner, talk. Jessica and Eric invited us to that new steakhouse downtown. I almost laughed. Jessica had already set the trap. Ashley had no idea she was walking into an ambush. I hesitated, just long enough to make it believable. Then I sighed. Fine. Dinner. She brightened instantly, her voice going all sing-song. Yay. See? I knew you'd come around. I ended the call without another word. And then I texted Jessica. She took the bait. Her response came instantly. Good. Let's ruin them. The steakhouse was dimly lit, the kind of place where people whispered expensive secrets over $200 bottles of wine. The air smelled like butter and arrogance. Perfect setting for a betrayal feast. Jessica and I arrived first. She looked stunning. Black dress, red lipstick, the picture of calm. But when I looked closer, I saw it. The tight grip on her wine glass, the controlled breathing. She wasn't just angry. She was ready for war. You good? I asked. She swirled her wine. Better than Ashley and Eric are about to be. I smirked. Damn right. And then, like clockwork, the snakes arrived. Ashley walked in first, arm linked with Eric's like she belonged to him. Like I was just some distant memory. She didn't even bother looking guilty. She smiled. Smiled. Like this was just another casual night out. Eric, the smug bastard, pulled out her chair before taking his own seat. Mark, Jessica, this was a great idea. Jessica smiled sweetly. Oh, it really was. Ashley touched my arm. I'm so glad you're here, babe. I was so worried about you after last night. I flinched at her touch, but I forced a small smile. Yeah, just needed some time. She beamed. She actually thought I was buying it. The waiter came. Drinks were ordered. And for the first 20 minutes we played along. Jessica laughed at Eric's jokes. I nodded at Ashley's bullshit. They thought they were winning. Thought they had us fooled. Then Jessica leaned forward, resting her chin on her hand. So, she said, voice silk smooth, how long have you two been sleeping together? Silence. Ashley blinked. Eric choked on his wine. What? Ashley forced a laugh. Jessica, what are you? Don't. I cut in. My voice was calm, even. We know. About everything. Eric looked at me, then Jessica, then back again. His face paled. Babe, he said, turning to his wife. It's not what it... Jessica threw her phone onto the table. The screen lit up with the video. Grainy black and white footage of Eric sneaking into my garage at midnight. Ashley's face drained of color. Jessica tilted her head, feigning innocence. Not what it looks like? Ashley recovered first. She rolled her eyes, laughing. Okay, wow. You guys are acting like we murdered someone. So we hooked up a few times, big deal. Jessica's wine glass snapped in her hand. Eric flinched. Jess? I emptied our bank account, she said, voice cold as ice. Filed for divorce this morning. His mouth fell open. Wait, what? Jess, come on. Ashley let out a scoff. Ugh, Jessica. Don't be so dramatic. I turned to my wife. Dramatic? My voice was low, dangerous. You brought him into my house. Drank wine with him in my garage. And you think we're being dramatic? Ashley's lips curled. Oh, please. Like you were some perfect husband? You were boring. You think I should apologize for wanting some excitement? Jessica let out a low whistle. Wow, you're actually a psychopath. Ashley crossed her arms. Whatever. You guys can be all high and mighty. But guess what? We're happy. Aren't we, babe? She turned to Eric. Eric, however, looked like a man watching his life crumble in real time. His eyes darted between his furious wife and his smug mistress. His face a mixture of panic and regret. Jessica leaned back, smirking. You didn't tell her, did you? Ashley frowned. Tell me what? Jessica smiled sweetly. That he begged me to take him back this morning. Ashley's head snapped to Eric. What? Eric swallowed hard. Babe, listen. Ashley shoved him. Hard. The table rattled. You pathetic little weasel. The whole restaurant went dead silent. I grinned. This was better than I'd imagined. Jessica wiped her hands with her napkin. Well, that was satisfying. I stood, tossing a few $100 bills on the table. Dinner's on us. Then Jessica and I walked out, leaving them to choke on their own destruction. Jessica and I stepped outside, the cool night air cutting through the tension still crackling in my veins. Inside the restaurant, Ashley and Eric were still at the table, locked in a whispered, panicked argument. Ashley's face was twisted in rage, Eric's in full-blown panic mode. Good. Let them drown in it. Jessica exhaled, running a hand through her hair. Well, that was fun. I chuckled, shaking my head. Did you see her face when you told her Eric begged for you back? Jessica smirked. I wish I could bottle that moment. For the first time since this whole nightmare started, I felt good. Like I'd finally gotten a breath of fresh air after drowning for 6 months. Then my phone buzzed. Ashley, 6 missed calls. Jessica peeked over my shoulder. Wow, she moves fast. I smirked. Let's see how desperate she really is. I answered, putting her on speaker. Ashley's voice came through, frantic. Mark, where the hell are you? We need to talk. Jessica raised an eyebrow at me, amused. I leaned against the hood of my car, completely calm. Talk about what? Oh, don't play dumb, Mark. Ashley shrieked. You humiliated me. In front of everyone. You humiliated yourself. My voice was casual, almost bored. I just let you dig your own grave. She let out an angry breath. Mark, please, just come home. We can fix this. Jessica mouthed wow at me. I laughed. Actually laughed. Ashley, you spent 6 months screwing my coworker, mocked me when I confronted you, and then told me I was boring like that was some kind of excuse. I paused. Tell me, exactly what is there to fix? Silence. Then she switched. Her voice went soft. Manipulative. Mark, baby, I made a mistake. But I love you. He didn't mean anything. I locked eyes with Jessica, who was shaking her head with a smirk. Time to twist the knife. Well, that's unfortunate, Ash. I sighed dramatically. Because Jessica and I are having a great time together. Jessica choked on her laugh. She covered her mouth, eyes wide. Ashley? She lost it. What the hell does that mean? I grinned. Gotta go. Don't wait up. And then I hung up. Jessica doubled over laughing. Oh my God. She's going to implode. I slid my phone back into my pocket, exhaling in satisfaction. Let her. Ashley had played her game. Now I was playing mine. Jessica and I stood in the parking lot, the glow of the restaurant behind us, the sound of Ashley's furious voice still ringing in my ears. That was brutal, Jessica said, still catching her breath from laughing. I almost feel bad for her. I smirked. Almost. Then my phone buzzed again. Ashley. Again. I turned the screen toward Jessica. Wanna hear round 2? She grinned. Oh, absolutely. I answered. Ashley's voice exploded through the speaker. You think this is funny? Very, I said casually. Mark, you're being a child. Stop acting like you and Jessica are suddenly best friends just to piss me off. I glanced at Jessica. You hear that? We're not best friends. Jessica gasped dramatically. Wow, I'm offended. Ashley snapped. Mark, I swear to God, if you don't stop this right now. What? I cut in, my voice suddenly sharp. What exactly are you gonna do, Ashley? Cheat on me harder. Silence. I hit her where it hurt. Jessica smirked, mouthing nice. Ashley took a shaky breath, and then, just like before, her tone switched. Mark, baby, please. Now she sounded desperate. I messed up, okay? But we can get past this. I'll make it up to you. I scoffed. By doing what? Not sleeping with my coworker. Mark. Her voice was breaking now, dripping with fake regret. I love you. Jessica rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might get stuck. I exhaled, glancing up at the night sky. Then I said the one thing Ashley never expected. You love control, Ashley. Not me. Jessica's lips parted slightly, like she hadn't expected that either. Ashley was quiet. I continued, my voice eerily calm. You thought I'd always be there, didn't you? Thought you could do whatever you wanted, and I'd just take it. I let the moment stretch. You were wrong. Her breath hitched. Mark? Goodbye, Ashley. Then I hung up. Jessica whistled low. Damn, that was cold. I shrugged. She deserves worse. Jessica nodded, her face unreadable. Yeah. A pause. Then she turned to me, eyes glinting. So, Mark? She leaned in slightly. Are we having a great time together? I laughed. Let's find out. And with that, we walked off into the night, leaving the ruins of our old lives behind us. Ashley didn't take the hint. The next morning, I woke up to 27 missed calls. I stared at my phone, blinking. Jessica, sipping her coffee in the hotel room's lounge area, raised an eyebrow. Let me guess. Your totally sane ex-wife. I turned the screen toward her. She whistled. Yikes. What's the over-under on her showing up in person? As if on cue, a loud knock rattled my hotel door. Jessica and I exchanged a look. Called it? She muttered, setting her mug down. I stood, stretched, and walked to the door. Through the peephole I saw her, Ashley. Hair a mess. Sunglasses hiding whatever emotional breakdown she'd had in her car. I opened the door but didn't step aside. What the hell are you doing here? She pushed past me, marching inside like she still owned my space. Jessica, sitting cross-legged on the couch, sipped her coffee like she was watching a reality show unfold live. Ashley's eyes zeroed in on her. Oh, you've got to be kidding me, she hissed. You're actually hanging out with her? Jessica smirked. Morning sunshine. Ashley whipped around to me, voice shrill. What is this, Mark? Some kind of pathetic revenge fling? I crossed my arms. What do you care? You made it very clear I wasn't exciting enough for you. Her lips trembled. Mark, please. She reached for my hand, pulled away, and just like that, her whole act crumbled. The fake remorse, the crocodile tears. It all disappeared. Her face twisted. You're an idiot. I exhaled sharply, shaking my head. There she is. Jessica chuckled under her breath. Ashley jabbed a finger at her. And you? You think this is funny? Jessica tilted her head. Oh, honey, I think this is hilarious. Ashley's hands curled into fists. You know what, Mark? Go ahead. Run off with her. You'll come crawling back when you realize she's just as boring as you. Jessica let out a slow, impressed whistle. Wow, even now you can't stop insulting him. I sighed, shaking my head. Ashley, this is pathetic. Just leave. She let out a sharp, bitter laugh. You think this is over? I met her gaze, my voice like steel. It is over. Her nostrils flared, but she saw it now, the finality. She lost. She turned on her heel, stormed out, and slammed the door so hard the walls shook. A heavy silence hung in the air. Jessica took another sip of coffee. Well, that was dramatic. I exhaled, rubbing a hand over my face. Jesus. Jessica nudged my foot with hers. So, are we a revenge fling? I looked at her, smirked. Let's find out. 1 year. 12 months since I walked out of that house. Since I watched my marriage burn to the ground and didn't bother trying to put out the flames. A lot had changed. Ashley and Eric didn't last. Not surprising, turns out when you build a relationship on lies and betrayal, it doesn't end in happily ever after. Eric lost his job after Jessica sent the footage to our boss. He tried to get her back, too, but she laughed in his face. Ashley, from what I heard, bounced between flings, burning every bridge she crossed. I hadn't seen her since the day she stormed out of my hotel room. Until today. I was sitting at my usual coffee shop, scrolling through my phone, when I felt someone slide into the seat across from me. I looked up. Ashley. I barely recognized her. She still looked good. She always would. But there was something different. The smugness? Gone. The arrogance? Diminished. I didn't speak first. Just raised an eyebrow. She exhaled, looking down at her hands. Hey, Mark. I sipped my coffee. What do you want? She flinched at my tone but forced a smile. Can't I just say hi? I leaned back, crossing my arms. No, a flicker of annoyance crossed her face, but she pushed past it. I've been thinking a lot. About us. About everything. I said nothing. She licked her lips, hesitated, then said, I miss you. I blinked. Then, before I could stop myself, I laughed. She glared. Wow, really? I shook my head, still chuckling. Ashley, you destroyed our marriage. You humiliated me. You enjoyed hurting me. And now, a year later, you suddenly miss me. Her jaw clenched. People change. I tilted my head. Do they? She hesitated. I do. Then softer. I regret what I did, Mark. I studied her. Maybe she was telling the truth. Maybe she did regret it. But regret wasn't the same as love. And it sure as hell wasn't enough. I let the silence stretch until she squirmed. Then I leaned forward, resting my elbows on the table. What exactly do you want from me, Ashley? She swallowed hard. I want another chance. For a second, I just stared. Then I shook my head. No, her face crumpled. Mark, I don't love you, I said simply. I don't even hate you. I feel nothing for you. Her eyes glistened, but I didn't care. I stood up, tossing a few bills on the table. Take care, Ashley. Then I walked away, and for the first time in years I felt free. A year after our divorce, my ex-wife showed up with a request that left me speechless. Ashley slid into the seat across from me. Her usual confidence dimmed but not completely gone. She looked good, of course she did. But there was something desperate in the way she carried herself now. Something hollow. I didn't speak first. She exhaled. Hey, Mark. I took a slow sip of my coffee. What do you want? Her lips pressed together like she was trying to choose her words carefully. I miss you. I almost laughed. Almost. She rushed on. I was stupid, okay? I didn't realize what I had until it was gone. I've changed. I leaned back in my chair. Changed? I repeated. Ashley, the last time I saw you, you were telling me I was boring and running off with my coworker. What exactly has changed? Her face tensed. I was wrong. About everything. She reached across the table, her fingers grazing my wrist. Mark, we had something real. Don't you remember? I stared at her hand on mine. Then I smirked. You really think I'd take you back? My voice was calm, almost amused. After everything? She swallowed hard. Mark. I pulled my hand away and leaned in. I moved on. You lost. Her face twisted. So that's it? You won't even consider? I stood up, tossing a few bills on the table. Not for a second. Then I pulled out my phone, scrolled through my messages, and let her see the name at the top of my recent calls. Jessica. Ashley's breath hitched. You? I grinned. Oh yeah, we are having a great time together. Her face went white. I gave her one last look. The woman who thought she could destroy me and walk away without consequences. Goodbye, Ashley. And with that, I walked out,